Hey everybody, today we're going to do some more campaign ad reactions. This time we've got the US Senate race in Texas. So we've got 3 ads apiece here from Ted Cruz, the incumbent Republican, and Colin Allred, the Democratic challenger. These are just on their YouTube channels. We'll play them, we'll do a little bit of commentary, we'll see what they have to say. So let's start with the challenger, Colin Allred. Here we go.
I'm Colin Allred, and I approve this message.
Ted Cruz is always up to something, like taking Social Security we've paid into for decades.
We should gradually increase the retirement age.
Increase the retirement age, Ted?
We ought to gradually increase the retirement age.
Yep, he said it again. And it gets worse. Cruz said he'd privatize Medicare. And get this, voted to raise the cost of prescriptions. With Ted Cruz, we work longer, pay more, and get less. Listen, Ted, running to Cancun was bad, but you hurt us more when you're here.
Alright, that's the first ad from Allred, and he's mainly hitting Cruz on Social Security there. I think it's mostly an effective ad. It's an unpopular position to talk about privatizing or raising the retirement age. I'm sure Cruz would come back and deny it, and a lot of those clips and statements might be from some years ago, back when Cruz was more a part of the Tea Party. You could tell usually in those he does not have his beard, and then at the end they throw in Cruz going to Cancun. They got a little bit of the goofy music going. I'd have to say it's not too bad of an ad. Regardless of the veracity, nobody out there is going to want to work longer and get less. So let's move on to the first ad from Ted Cruz. And this one is going to be a little bit longer, but let's see what Cruz has to say.
This election is about something very simple. It's about keeping Texas, Texas.
And I know we're going to win because I look around, passion, at the energy, at your commitment to stand and fight and defend our state and defend our nation. We're less than 90 days away from Election Day. I want to ask everyone here to stand up and fight, to use your voice. You know, Margaret Thatcher said, first you win the argument, then you win the vote. We've got to win people's hearts and minds. States like California and Illinois and New York and New Jersey and Connecticut, and they're coming to Texas because we believe in freedom, and we believe in jobs, and we believe in safety, and we support law enforcement. Texas is worth fighting for, and America is worth fighting for.
Alright, so that is Cruz, and I also don't really think it's a bad ad. Now, if you already don't like Cruz, you're already going to not like anything he has to say. I get it, he does have some likability issues. But the Keep Texas, Texas slogan, I think that does actually work pretty well. Texas has kind of its own vibe and own identity, and he does touch on how a lot of people from other states are trying to move in. So on some level, Texas must be doing something right, and the messaging around keeping Texas, Texas, I think is going to be successful enough. The other stuff where he goes around to the different cities, that's pretty much standard politics. He briefly mentions crime and jobs, etc. He also throws in a Margaret Thatcher quote. I don't know how much that's going to land, but overall I think another acceptable ad. Let's go back over to the Colin Allred side and see his second ad. This one is also going to be just a little bit longer, so let's get into it.
Well, my fellow Texans, our next senator from the great state of Texas, Colin Allred.
Congressman Allred. Ted Cruz.
Lifelong Texas resident Allred says he wants to unite Texans and restore their sense of freedom.
The Texans believe in freedom. They believe you should be free to chase your birds in the American dream. We're closer than ever to defeating Ted Cruz next year.
Voter turnout is going to be critical for you to flip the seat.
That's what this race is going to be about, is Texans talking to Texans, neighbors talking to neighbors. We can't afford to have 9.5 million registered Texans not voting in 2024. And so, this is going to be a tough race, but it's not a long shot race.
Because somebody's got to fight for Texas. And as your senator, that's exactly what I'll do.
Alright, that's ad number 2 from Allred, and my biggest complaint in that one is gotta be the audio. Half of that I could not really hear what he was saying because the music was just as loud, and him talking there at the end directly to the camera. It seemed like he did not have his own microphone, he was just using the one from the camera. So that's kind of a technical disappointment. But at the beginning you've got Lizzie Fletcher introducing Allred. He's gotta go for this inoffensive, kind of moderate blue dog type of approach. That's what you've got to do in a state where you're the underdog party. But one thing he's not really doing is praising Joe Biden, he's not praising praising Kamala Harris, you're also not seeing Cruz praising Trump too much. But I think it's going to be even more tricky for Allred. His party is in power in the White House, but in that seat he's looking to change the power dynamic, so it's kind of a tightrope he has to walk. He talks about freedom, again, all that stuff is super standard for both sides. It is going to be a tough race for him, I completely back him up on that. I think it's closer to a long shot than not, but overall I don't think this is an ad that tried to do too much. Let's go on to number 2 from Ted Cruz. This one is going to go more into the border. Let's get into it.
Young women and children murdered by illegal aliens. A child raped and brutalized for hours.
An illegal immigrant killed the 22-year-old nursing student.
Both were undocumented workers from Venezuela.
An illegal immigrant.
Undocumented immigrant from Guatemala.
Say the man is undocumented and now faces capital murder charges.
I don't hear a lot about the border here in Dallas. I don't think it's a top of mind issue.
I'll tell you what, if they build that racist wall, my generation is the one that will tear it down.
And the border is certainly not open.
All right, so Cruz there goes hard on border, illegal immigration, all key issues, especially in the border state of Texas. Now, you might think some of that is taken out of context or emotionally manipulative. I'll leave that up to you, but any shots of Allred saying the border is not open or a border wall is racist, those I do think play to Ted Cruz's advantage. Cruz, I don't even think is in that ad. It's really all about the news coverage. But let's go on to the last ad from Colin Allred. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm Colin Allred. Fentanyl is flooding into our country. Our border is broken, and so are our politics. To fix it, we've got to go after the cartels and fix the border. We've got to do it in a way that upholds our values. Values passed down from my grandfather, a customs officer in Brownsville. I stood up to Joe Biden on the border, and to extremists like Ted Cruz who prefer chaos to real solutions. I'm Colin Allred. I'm running for Senate to fix this problem.
All right, so this is Allred going after the border. And again, considering the politics and the state, I guess the ad is fine. It seems like he wants to get something done there. He goes after both Biden a little bit as well as Cruz on the border. He mentions his grandfather, that's all good, and we're able to actually hear him this time. But on the issue of the border and immigration, I think no matter how hard Allred talks about it, that issue is just going to favor the Republicans. It's kind of like the flip side of abortion. Whenever a Republican comes out and says that they're supporting abortion rights or whatever, that issue is still going to favor the Democrats. But I get it, it's a key issue, he's still got to do something. I think the problem for him is Democrats have been in the White House for almost 4 years, and they did have full control of Congress for 2 years. That's why in this particular issue, I think it's easier for Ted Cruz, even if you think he might go a little bit too far. All right, let's finish up one more ad from Ted Cruz. Here it is.
This is Texas toast. This is not. This is a truck. This is not. And this man is fighting to secure our border. This man is not. Colin Allred consistently votes for open borders, including voting against deporting illegal aliens who assault police officers. This man is fighting for Texas. This man...
If they build that racist wall, my generation is the one that will tear it down.
I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
Okay, so that's kind of another immigration/crime one from Cruz. The overall flow of that one, I think, is actually much better. The narration, the music, the side-by-side cuts of the Texas toast and the truck, I think that hints at his Keep Texas Texas theme. It showcases that side-by-side contrast between himself and Allred. So it's not a bad ad, this one is a little bit older, but Ted Cruz is not the most likable guy out there. Yet I think he does a reasonable job in most of these ads. It is an uphill climb for Allred. If a blue wave emerges, then I think this seat could be in play. For now, Cruz is going to have the edge, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton more ads out there. But these are 6 ads, 3 from each side. It's fun to go through them and provide a little bit of commentary. So that's it. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these ads? Do you think Allred was great? Do you think he flopped? You think Cruz nailed it, or you think he was terrible? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.